We've got horror TV, weird AI, and Lilo and Stitch popcorn. Welcome to the Gemba Weekly Six TikTok edition, where we dissect the top 6 new clips of the week. I'm Tom Hoffman, media and tech expert, and Gemba is my AI engine that helps me watch all of TikTok so you don't have to. With that, let's briefly kick into how Gemba works. This, for example, is VAD analysis. It reinvents sentiment analysis because, well, sentiment analysis is garbage. This is badass, for example, and traditional sentiment engines might as well be this is terrible, but, which is equally unpositive. And it gets worse because humans spell things wrong all the time or speak and type creatively, resulting at best in a neutral score, which tells us nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you want better accuracy, I can advise horoscopes, maybe. But if you want to leave less to the stars, we can just use Gemba, which uses AI to create a 3D emotional map of the top 10,000 new videos from their comments each week on TikTok. In human speak, it's sentiment analysis on steroids. And here's how it works. Starting with the V in VAD, which stands for valence. This is the raw sentiment from negative to positive, only it's actually pretty badass. See what I did there? This is followed by A for arousal. This is the intensity of the emotion from low to high, because humans don't feel all emotions exactly the same way, do we? Sometimes the volume is turned up pretty high. Yeah, we measure that because I don't care when people are only mildly annoyed or feel nothing. And TikTok doesn't care either because emotions trigger viral behavior. So this is probably starting to make sense. TikTok is a more intensely positive place than you might have previously thought. But I promised you 3 dimensions, and this is the D in VAD, dominance, that reflects the emotional sense of control. When humans experience any intensity of an emotion, there's an accompanying sense of control or power over the situation. Dominance is neither good nor bad. Take magic, for example. Floating pencil, how can that be? This would have a low dominance because the audience has a lower sense of control. How the heck is that pencil defying gravity? Boom, revelation of a secret. Hidden finger holds the stylus in place. That's a high dominance because the audience has a higher sense of control here. Both types of content are interesting in different ways. Dominance helps us measure the relationship content has with its audience. So put it all together and what do you get? A complex but measurable matrix. One thing is clear. TikTok feeds you more of what you want based on what you've already watched. So when we see the most viral activity clustered to the right here, we see what could be considered an asymmetric strategy over other social networks with business models around keeping the audience sad and angry to maintain their attention. And that brings us to the Gemba top 6 of the week. Master the emotions, and you will master viral culture. Boom. Let's kick into number 1, which is a scene from television. Yes, old school TV was the most viewed new content last week, uploaded on all of TikTok worldwide. It's a show From, to be exact, starring Harold Perrineau, a fave from Lost back in the day for any of us olds. It's a fan upload, and it highlights a common trend for horror on TikTok, which we'll kind of see again in this list. Anticipation is the highest emotion for this one, which makes complete sense with people being chased by monsters. So if we look at the VAD scores, it'll be no surprise that dominance measures low at 10%. It's people getting chased by creepy things. The audience has very low perception of control, and the emotional valence skews just a touch negative, but negative doesn't always mean bad. Like crappy sentiment analysis would tell you that. They would just say, oh, it's bad. But suspense isn't necessarily a positive feeling either, but nor is it an intensely negative feeling. Contrast this with number 2, which is just a quick edit from the biggest creator on the planet, MrBeast. Yeah, Jimmy. He's massive on TikTok as well as YouTube, and you can see from his 117 million followers here, that's the case. It's not difficult for him to go viral on TikTok with a massive international audience. You can see this clearly with the other section being more than half of his audience, which translates everywhere in the world. But for emotions, Jimmy indexes really big on joy and happiness. This particular clip is a joke after all. It stitches on him claiming he'd never go hood, which for us olds translates to him saying he would never adopt a gangster persona. Thus, a bunch of these cheesy edits of him looking like he's straight out of a 90s rap video. It's basically an openly inside joke. And it hits well on TikTok. People think it's silly and funny. Solid mid-range arousal. 80% positive emotions from those happiness and joy scores that we saw. And moderately low dominance that comes with the audience being taken for an unexpected ride with nice guy Jimmy presenting as a badass gangster. But now we'll take a weirder turn into number 3. A 2-minute long epic. Yeah, you just saw that. A 2-minute epic like AI short drama about a baby that flies out the window of its mother's exploding commercial flight, only to be rescued and protected by a kitten. Yeah, you'll see that in a second. I mean, look, Thomas Edison's first films were just people doing stuff like flexing their muscles. So at least this has a plot in the emerging category of AI filmmaking. And this one hits hard internationally with non-English speaking audiences. Why? Well, the high scores for joy and happiness are telling. A lot of the comments are a spoiler alert that this oddity actually has a happy ending. Given the alarming visual of a baby flying out of a window in the first 2 seconds, this drove people to actually watch the 2 minutes to validate this claim. And that non-English speaking audience footprint, well, there's no dialogue. And with the alarming opening visuals, what can make you feel more powerless than seeing a baby fly out a window? It's a weird one for sure, but a taste of the imminent future of democratized filmmaking with AI. And speaking of filmmaking, this 7-second clip of a mom and pop movie theater showing a sneak preview of the collectible Stitch popcorn bucket a week ahead of the Memorial Day weekend premiere gets the highest score of the week for joy from the comments. I never saw the original Lilo and Stitch. Lilo, sorry. But it's remarkable to see that a 7-second clip of a cartoon character's popcorn bucket is a powerful signal that this movie will likely kill it at the theaters. We shall see. Its VAD score solidifies that joy score with the highest arousal of the pack. Fans don't just feel joy here, they feel intense joy. And the dominance is telling us it's telling too that at around 11%, it indicates a lower perception of control around this collectible item not being available until the movie premieres. This is just such a cool case study for theatrical marketers. This is an organic, unpaid viral for such a big movie. It's really impressive. And no need to overthink number 5. This is just some weird swamp tractor that picks up plants and shakes things out of them. In this case, snakes. Yeah, you'll see snakes here. Along with the audience, it surprised me too. And it may be short at 33 seconds, and there's the snakes. But the success of this video tells us that it has high viewing retentions, given you don't see a snake until about halfway through. 13 seconds is an eternity in viral feed culture. And no VAD surprises. Snakes are generally unpleasant to most, so this gets the lowest valence. And that 20% dominance reflecting a low sense of control on an unpleasant surprise style video. And that brings us to number 6. That is another epic 2-minute video like that kitten baby rescue. This one is a clever stitch video, which for us olds means the creator has taken someone else's video and physically stitched their own ending to it. In this case, a no-face scream, masked like Grim Reaper guy, impatiently waiting for that skydiver to hit the ground. It's silly, but people love it. Highest happiness and joy scores of the batch. In an internet full of clickbait and retention bait, wait until you see what happens, this type of content often ends with nothing happening. So this is just a cute example of safely dark humor as a Stitch parody to a silly but logical ending, if you watch the whole thing. And the dominant score is the highest of the pack at 40%, which is an almost neutral sense of control, which makes sense. The skydiving video on its own would have a low dominance, but it stitches out to the comedy to balance it. And that's it. That's your Gemba Weekly 6 for the week ending May 21st, 2025. I'll leave you with a very totally online theory. What if Lilo and Stitch popcorn at number 4 got a little algorithmic bump because of the word Stitch? as demonstrated in number 6 here, is a somewhat unique vocabulary to TikTokiness. It's Stitches, food for thought. Here's my creds. Thanks for watching. I'll bid you, as always, with a solid stay digital, people.